Hello everyone, Bart here, and welcome to a new movie review. When it comes to animated films from the 80s, they're mostly not such big hits when they first came out, but they have grown such a big following. Of course, Disney has a fair share once in a while when they do better later on, but where some like Don Bluth have done great, a lot of others weren't seen as much at the time, but have grown cult followings from pretty small to pretty big. And one of those big ones is the first feature film from the Canadian animation studio Nelvana. And it definitely succeeded in my books as well as others. Rock and Roll. In an apocalyptic future where dogs, cats, and rats survive, and a new species of mutants evolve from them, there's a rock superstar named Mohr, who retired to his home of Ohmtown, where he searches for a voice that will help him raise a beast from another dimension, and will give him ultimate power. He does find the voice in Angel, a member of a small rock band with 3 others, Omar, Dizzy, and Stretch. But when Angel refuses to take Mohr's offer to sing in his comeback concert and doesn't want to leave her band, Mohr kidnaps her and takes the rest of the band away. And even as Omar, Dizzy, and Stretch are trying to get Angel back, Mohr finds ways to keep Angel in his grasp, and will use her to bring up the beast. As far as this film goes, it's pretty fun with all of its songs, animation, and characters. The songs in the film are pretty enjoyable and original, from the likes of Cheap Trick, Iggy Pop, and Earth, Wind & Fire, giving that 80s rock feeling and making it pretty fun and memorable, to an extent. The animation is wondrous, even from a studio best known for television later on, and is one of, if not the first animated film to incorporate computer graphics, obviously done before in live action, but given the time the film came out, it's impressive for what it is, and it's interesting to see these days, with how far technology has gone. And the characters do very fine for what they are. Omar and Angel have kind of a troubling relationship when it comes to playing songs for their band. Angel wants to sing her song, but Omar doesn't want it. And despite them getting along, they still have their differences, even around Mohr, and Omar does care for Angel, but barely shows it in some scenarios, most likely thinking she's better off with Mohr than him, or not. But what would you expect when he's voiced by John Milner from American Graffiti? The side characters, though mainly comic relief, have their own kind of charm and likability. Mohr's servants, Toad, Zip, and Sleazy, are the typical trio of tough guys, except Zip's the dumb one and watches a weird TV show starring a clown named Uncle Mikey. And all 3 of them would go by on roller skates and embody the same antics as Looney Tunes or the Three Stooges. Cinderella, or Cindy, is the sister of Toad, Zip, and Sleazy, who helps Angel escape from Mohr, and her animation is pretty fluid and even different from some of the other characters that feel rotoscoped. Not to mention that even though she mentions her brothers don't mention her. That's kind of sad. However, out of all the characters that are in this film, one of them stands out among the rest. And that, of course, is the main villain, Mohr. He was a legendary superstar who, after discovering an ancient code that will raise a demon, he becomes obsessed with it and vows to complete and decipher the code in a comeback concert called Beauty and the Beast, funny, and stops at nothing even when Angel refuses, and uses lots of magic tricks, even during the concerts he did. I got a lot more out of him than any of the other characters, and he's built as the main character, despite that he's a villain. His look and personality feels like a mixture of the Grinch, Jafar, Dr. Facilier, and David Bowie as Jareth the Goblin King from Labyrinth. It's such a great combination for such an interesting character. And even though he has 2 or 3 songs in the film, and 2 of them only praise about himself, he's still great at them. He's not only my favorite character in the movie, but he's also one of my favorite animated villains, and whenever he is on, it makes the movie very enjoyable. But one issue I do have with is the character designs. There's supposed to be mutations evolved from cats, dogs, and rats, and yeah, I can tell what some of them are, like Mohr's servants are dogs, Mylar's a rat, Omar has kind of a rat look to him, and though I question what Angel's supposed to be, the biggest one for me is Mohr. What's he supposed to be? Outside of looking like what I've already stated, what animal is he mutated from? There doesn't seem to be anything distinct about him to show what he originated from. I guess he's supposed to be from dogs given his mouth and such, but I'm still up in the air about it. Yet this is the only problem I have with this film, and if it were more like a Goofy movie, it would have been pretty clear. But it's a nitpick, and I'm still wondering about it. And the cast of actors voicing the characters are pretty enjoyable and did great. Unfortunately, there's not that many photographs of the cast, so I'll do with what I got. Dawn Franks voices Mock, Susan Roman voices Angel, Paul LeMat voices Omar, Catherine O'Hara voices Aunt Edith, Debbie Harry is the singing voice of Angel, Lou Reed is the singing voice of Mock, Samantha Langvin voices Mock's computer, Martin Lavette voices Mylar, Maurice LaMarche voices Sailor, and that's all I got. As a whole, this movie is fun. The characters are good, the story is well done, the animation is really good, and the songs are enjoyable. Director Clive A. Smith has done a very nice job of making a sci-fi fantasy musical that really deserves more attention, and has done so by having a cult following, which I'm happy to be a part of. I don't really seem to see any kind of fault with it outside of how the characters are designed, but that's more of a nitpick. Everything else about it is all sound, no pun intended, and fairly easy to understand. And filled with 80s rock and roll songs, plenty of good humor, and a great villain, I really do recommend this underrated classic. So today, this movie we get a rating of 3 stars. So thank you for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Facebook or Twitter, support me on Patreon, and see you next time for a new video.